it's just so much work. I was like, it doesn't have to be.
Initial stuff, I've been doing this so long, to fine tune some stuff, get your workflow.
It's just so much work. I was like, it doesn't have.
But now I'm like, I prefer this.
Yeah. There's stuff that I want to be very polished and professional, but then there's also turn it on and go.
We're turning on and go. We're on now.
Like specifically, I got to turn my lights on. I just realized.
While Cory's doing that, hey everybody, welcome back. This is session 13, I think, of Cory and Cory launching a WordPress product live. We got some cool updates. We've been working on some stuff, and when I say working on some stuff, Cory, you've been like on this huge manic state of like getting stuff done, and
Yep.
I'm pumped about it.
I built 100 feet of fencing. Yeah, I last week my main clients were out of town for a week, so I was like, all right, I'm going to take a couple of days off and take advantage of the weather finally getting nice, and so built big beautiful fences, which has prompted the promise of an OMG IMG hackathon, where Cory is going to fly me out to his house and I'm going to help him build a fence. But it also meant that I was hacking at our plugin new product for a couple of hours every morning and every night, and over the weekend. So yeah, I just this morning zipped up. I have a little script that I use to zip all my plugins for distribution, and uploaded it to a testing website, and it broke, but then a couple minutes later it worked. So pretty amazing. Yeah, we've now got a plugin that installs. It's tied in to EDD. Oh, good idea. Thank you. Yes, we should stand for this proud moment. But yeah, I got as far as incorporating the licensing with EDD, so that's now tied into the OMG img.co website that has just a placeholder logo on it. We need to put the sign up form coming soon on that website. I keep forgetting. But it's got the basics. The plugin itself has the basics of, so you can install it. It takes you to a welcome screen. You add a logo, and it creates your first image, which is the logo on the left and the title of the site on the right. So like we talked about, in a few clicks and in a few seconds, you've got at least the most basic OG image. And I found what I needed to, if you don't have Yoast or something else installed, then this will show as the OG image. So we need to test that a bit more, but is working on my WordPress installs. And then I also found the hook for Yoast. So if Yoast is installed, regardless of the OG image you have plugged into Yoast, ours will show if you've selected one. And so that's site-wide. And then we have most of the functionality for host-specific images as well. And so right now, associated with a post, you can create images, and you can set those as a featured image, and that works. What I haven't finished yet is setting an individual OG image per post. So if you share your homepage, it'll show the site-wide OG image, but if you share a specific post, it should show the OG image for that post. And if there isn't one specified, then should show the site-wide one. So we need to test that. But all the functionality is there. And then the only other, I mean, there's, there's a few little bugs and things here and there, and we need to do a lot of testing on different browsers and stuff like that. But the OG image per post is the one big thing missing. And yeah, and then I think we're pretty close. We need better templates, which you've been working on. And yeah, again, I'm sort of to the point where the framework works. We need to pick a couple of templates and just start messing around with them. And so it's as we're going, oh, we really need this over here. And I'll go, oh, it doesn't support that yet. Let me quick go at it. Kind of, we'll get into that development loop. But that's where we're at. We're pretty far along.
That's awesome to hear. Awesome news. So keep building fences, because focus too. You got your physical outlet, and then you got your mental digital outlet. That's all great news. I think my biggest question is, when do you think, by the end of day, our part beta client site is post tabs? By end of day, we should be switched over to our new hosting environment, and things should be a lot better for the website that have been kind of lingering.
Congrats.
By tomorrow, it should be ready available, I should say, to install the plugin if you wanted to.
Great.
Okay, well, that's all good news. And on that note, to recap for others that haven't seen previous episodes, where we're at now is, you just heard Cory's product update. Great progress on what we had talked about past couple of weeks about an easy way to show your website professionally on the web through Open Graph. So post as being our kind of default, let's not just iron out the dev kinks, but also how we want that to look, because that's very, very important. Both of us have interest in design. So on that note, using that post as the test, I started working in Canva. My update to you would be also, as I mentioned in Slack, I submitted the design requests for the templates, post as the start, to kind of flesh out how we want this to look. I do know we do have the nuts and bolts of what we need for just templates, so I still need to do more of that work. But I wanted to show you this. Along that kind of research and work from my side, I found this OG image gallery, ogimage.com.
Oh, nice. Yep.
Oh, this is what I needed.
Yeah.
I love some of these things. So I took, and I'm not a professional designer, I'm just a hobby designer. But I was like, this is really inspiring for the general default website business card. So just looking through here, there's just such good stuff. So I was like, kind of riffed on something like this with that, and I'll have to get this to our designer, but all of that, just thinking about how to offer a really good template option and what is in there. So I was like, okay, I got the dimensions, like we had talked about, and just started going, okay, what would a business card? It's funny, going in Canva, when I put in the ratio, it pulled up a business card template. I was like, that was cool to see some of those. And I just started riffing something that I could at least flesh out my thoughts a little bit to get back to the designer, based on some of these other gallery options. So that's what I was working on when I didn't realize you were here and I was still working. So, but just for the general website, the thoughts we had were logo, some treatment. What I liked about these images over here is you have a big title. With a small logo. I like how Mixpanel threw in some kind of graphic that linked what Mixpanel is.
So
use Clay.
So the technology we're using is still technically a screenshot. And so seeing this version 1.1 or whatever, so in my mind, the first OG image template that we want is logo on the left, title on the right, dead simple, a background color or whatever. But there's no reason, and and as kind of the rabbit hole you started going down on our last call that I poked fun at you for was that you kept moving the logo from the left to the center, left, to the right to the center. And it's like, the beauty of this is we don't have to choose, right? We can, there are two things we can do. One is I can offer an option that says, do you want the logo on the left, right, or center? The other thing is we can have almost infinite templates. And I don't think we want to have too many templates that are too similar, but looking at that gallery you were just looking at, like a lot of these have, you look at the patterns, right? So you've got a logo top left for a lot of them, or you've and an image on the right, or you've got a logo top and then a text underneath, or the one you were just showing me, which is what made me interrupt you, the mix panel, right? Is again version 1.1. I wonder that our best template isn't actually going to be, we could actually take a screenshot of their homepage and then automatically suck it in to a template. And so, with one click, like we would go essentially take a picture of the homepage and then put it in a template. They've uploaded a logo. We have the title, and we've essentially recreated that mix panel template in one go. I hadn't thought of that, because we're talking, it's the what's the movie Inception. We've got screenshots of screenshots of screenshots, but but we can certainly do that. Like we can say, I hadn't thought of this before, like talking about creating a template for each blog post, pulling in the title, pulling in the featured image. We could actually take a screenshot of the blog post and then inject it in lieu of a featured image into an OG image. So you've got an actual picture of the website in that mix panel style. That's really cool. I hadn't thought of that.
That's so good. I'm trying to record some of these as we see them,
Yeah.
so I can direct them. But I know what you're doing with them too is you see this and go, okay, that means centered, left, right. This one is in the middle. There's another, you're right, top left seems like. I love that idea though of the screenshot, because like I was having a hard time with the post status one, just showing my workflow. I was like, okay, trying to create this, what would I want? And I like the examples where they have some image, something there, and I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
how do I here? So I found a Canva, like this little browser frame.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I was, it tickled my brain when you showed me this. I'm like, go take a screenshot of the post status homepage at these proportions, and then drag that in here. And that's, in lieu of that, fake browser placeholder, you could actually have a picture of the website, because that's it, that kind of true, and with a drop shadow. And so it's like all of these things we can do, but it's that kind of thing that adds a little more legitimacy. It's just as you brought up, I think last time, those generators of, book cover, so it, or fake software, so it looks like, it's like when people were writing ebooks or, have downloadable software, there were these templates. You'd upload the cover and it would spit out an image, a 3D generated image that looked like the box that you'd see on the shelf at Staples. That's what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. So doing similar here, where it's like, okay, either upload a screenshot or we can take a screenshot of the actual blog post. So you've got a picture of the website. It's going to lend this sense of legitimacy even more than, a stylized title or whatever. That's really slick. But I'm not hearing you. Something happened to your audio.
Oh, that screenshot.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
That screenshot thing, I was just trying to make sure I got it down.
Yeah.
Just trying to make sure I had that vision of what we're talking about.
But I wonder that we don't, either, like, we need to start a Pinterest board of all of the great ones we find. You found this gallery that gives us a head start. And I feel like we, at some point, you or we should spend 10 minutes just going through a bunch of them, noticing some of these patterns, like, okay, 20% of them have a little logo and a screenshot. 20% of them are, 50-50. 20% of them are logo top, title bottom, and just call those our first 3 templates or something like that, incorporating, like you said, with post status being our first testing ground. When the designer comes back with your new template, let's make sure that that's accounted for. And then those are like the first 4 that we go live with. Because that'll, again, if we identify these sort of, not 80-20, but 20-20, 20-20-20 kind of, people are going to want to do wild, crazy things. And like I said, I've built the plugin in a way that people can pretty easily create their own. They're going to need to be developers, but can still, add their own treatments and stuff like that. But if we've covered most of the bases, at least for OG images, then, when we publish, because again, EDD is all set up, I've added Stripe and all that kind of stuff. Like, all we've got to do is, go live essentially. And obviously we want to do that with actual templates that work and after some testing. But, we're pretty close. We just need to offer the actual, it's like we've worked out the engine, we've worked out the wheels. We just now need the, what is it? The Civic, the Acura, the, SUV and the truck or whatever, but the underlying stuff is all worked out.
Love it. Just trying to capture this for. Got it. Yeah, because like up here, we talked about doing some of these things, but like pulling in a little screenshot, I think that'd be really awesome. Okay, so here's my big question. I'm scared to ask. Can this be framed in like a browser, but that browser thing, like?
Oh, for sure.
Wherever it was. Okay.
Yeah,
Dang.
like things we need to all stuff to work out, but absolutely. Like the easy one is, the easy one is just adding a drop shadow. The one that we just need to find essentially the right, like, so, the right size, basically either PNG or there are browsers or mobile phones all done in CSS, which means they will, stretch, right? So we could actually take screenshots. There's one on your screen, bottom right, like that phone. On the right. Yep. That one. Like we could essentially recreate that, like go take a screenshot of your homepage, stick it in a phone, and then take a picture of the OG, create an OG image out of that. So it's like, if you are a mobile app or something, like we could do that kind of thing. And then this totally might be a pipe dream, but we can start looking into, actually like doing skewing type of stuff, meaning we can, like, some of those OG images, to make it more dynamic, they've, instead of just a flat screenshot, they've sort of, tilted it on its side. We can start looking into that kind of stuff too. I don't know yet if we can do it or not, but it's certainly not hard to test it.
But see, just thinking about frames for it like that, I think is really cool. Like I'd want that on post edit stuff.
Yep.
But just a way to frame it in any way. The image that you're doing, I think, is interesting. Okay, so I'm looking at these templates, like that's going to give me another thought for the post edits one, seeing what they come back. I bet you I'll get something by tomorrow on that.
Great.
Get that in here.
Product. Yep.
Magazine would be in there. Magazine.
Oh yeah.
Because that's one of your
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I really like that because for the screenshot for the post, it just shows like this is the blog post, and there's some rendering of it that goes, when I click through, this is what I'm going to get and expect
Yeah.
to get.
Yeah, I think that takes it to another level, like not there. And there's different times and places too. It's like if you share on Facebook, you get the full image like this, right? But if you share on Twitter, it's like this, or if you share in Slack, it's like this. And so there's time I don't think we can control which version gets delivered where, but depending on your preferred, if you're mostly promoting to Facebook, then having an image that has a lot of detail, meaning a screenshot, totally works. Whereas if you're sharing, look, in that Wise one, if you scroll down, if you're sharing somewhere that it always shows up small, you're like, well, all we want is the name of our website as big as possible then, and so essentially we're giving you lots of options. The one just kitty corner down, memory, that one, yeah, there's your screenshot right there. So it's, a fake browser frame around a screenshot of something. And again, at an angle, I know we can do rotate. I've already done rotate in one of my test templates. So that's something we could emulate pretty readily. But this is the trap, the loop that I'm stuck in, right? Is I have a tool and I have a solution, but I don't have the problem yet. And so I've just been testing like crazy, all the different neat things we can do, but I haven't actually like sat down and said, okay, let me try to recreate one of these OG images with our new system, or let me call this template number one, and here's the elements that it needs. So, so this is great. Like, I think, like you said, if you get back the new ones for post status in the next couple of days, and we pick a couple of these based on the list you just created, then, we're good to go.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of, logo left image, which is what we got here. Logo top, logo smaller, headline here. Same. Okay.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of patterns. And so again, I think we just pick a few. And of course, you have our entire marketing strategy done already, right?
Yeah. Me and my buddy Chat GPT. Plus he's out while I have him. So when I asked the designer to work on some of those, because I'd probably take a lot of these
Mhm.
and say, do this for post status as our test case.
Yep.
The podcast is going to be a little tricky, I think. Because like you want to host probably, but what if you have two hosts? What if
Yep.
you always have a guest? Like I always have a guest. But we'll cross that bridge later on. Okay, logo only. I like that. Logo, a screenshot of homepage. Let's see. Logo and tagline only.
So
Screen.
I think you should, using that OG, that image gallery, like for each of these, go find one that's close to what you want. And just like you did a minute ago, yeah, like that slide number 5, like capture one of each so that it's like, okay, this is just one big logo, that's wise. Logo and tagline, that's one of those other ones. And it's like, if we have all of those captured here forever, then that's what we start with. And we have a designer actually like figure out the proportions, make it look proper. But then we're, like you said, we're sort of covering the bases.
Okay. Can do.
But yeah, we're close. I'm excited. And I've set up, like I said, I've set up most of the basics we need just to get it out the door. At some point we need to have a conversation about pricing. And a logo. But I'm excited that we are very, very close to having something that you can be using on post status. I can put on my client websites, and essentially we might even maybe in post status Slack, like, let's see if we can put together a beta, beta list, beta testers, 10, 50, 100, and roll it out to some people. Because with EDD, so for anybody who's not familiar, that's the shopping cart checkout mechanism that's really specifically good for selling software licenses. And so we can essentially give away a free version of the plugin, and it doesn't, and anybody we give it to can't update as we release updates unless they buy or unless we give them a copy. Because in WordPress, that's really what you're selling, is access to the next version, because everything is open source. But so it makes it very easy to distribute something like this. Like I have no problem giving away the first version to, generally trusted colleagues kind of thing. But if it gets leaked, I don't care, because, we're going to be cranking out new versions, daily, weekly, early on, as new features and bugs and stuff like that get added, fixed. And so, people will have an early beta, but,
Okay.
will want to buy in order to get those updates.
Okay. I think so I've got pricing, logo, templates, pricing, logo, beta testers.
Yeah, that seems like we're ready for all that.
I wanted to get the work going with templates so we could have something like really inform what we're doing.
Yep.
But after we get the first round, I'll submit another request for the logo.
Yep.
And then pricing, I think we'll get I will, for our part, get a better view of it when we get it in action, show it going. And then, but I think some of the rough pricing talks we had were right on par. Like get something, a base product that does something well.
Yeah.
That people look better. And then yeah, when we're ready for beta testers, we'll just ask.
You had a hard stop at the
I
top
do.
of the hour. So let's wrap up today. Sorry about being late.
No worries.
And yeah, we'll reconvene soon. Feel like things are starting to speed up. This is great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll try to keep up with you.